friends, welcome to another session of live class with Ayum. I'm so happy that you have joined me today. So thank you so much for joining me. This is my Pain Your Game Ministries. And this is that place where we learn those practical things that can ease our pain and bring comfort to our life. This month, I've been speaking on the subject, it's time to rebuild. It's time to rebuild. I've done 2 previous videos, so if you missed any of those videos, I want to encourage you to visit the videos library on our Facebook page or visit our YouTube channel, My Pain Your Game Ministries. And while you are there, if you've not liked the page or subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so. And when you subscribe on YouTube, make sure that you turn on the notification button, which has the sign of a bell. And what that does is that each time we upload a new video, you will get a notification and then you can watch it and be blessed. So today, I'm still going to continue on the steps to rebuilding. The steps to rebuilding part 2. That is what I'm speaking on today. So the second step I want to talk about to rebuilding is to assess your situation. Assess or evaluate your situation. And I want to read to us from Nehemiah chapter 2, verse 11 to 15. Nehemiah chapter 2, verse 11 to 15, the New International Version, tells us there how Nehemiah assessed his situation. Verse 11 says, I went to Jerusalem, and after staying there 3 days, I set out during the night with a few others. I had not told anyone what my God had put in my heart to do for Jerusalem. There were no mounts with me except the one I was riding on. Verse 13. By night I went out through the valley gate toward the Jackal well and the Dung gate, and examining the walls of Jerusalem, which had been broken down, and its gates, which had been destroyed by fire. Then I moved on toward the fountain gate and the king's pool, but there was not enough room for my mount to go through. So I went up the valley by night, examining the wall. Finally, I turned back and re-entered through the valley gate. I'll just stop there now because of my time. And what I'm speaking on, the strategy I want to speak on, which is the second strategy to rebuilding, using Nehemiah's example, was assessment of the situation. Nehemiah, like I made us to understand in my previous videos, was in exile when the news of what had happened in his home country, Jerusalem, came to him. And I've already mentioned the first step he took. So I'm going to now go straight into this second step, which was assessment of the situation. So when he arrived in Jerusalem, what he did was that in the night, he went to go and examine how bad the walls that have been broken down, the gates that have been burned. He just went out to examine how bad was it. Because except he knows the extent to this damage, there is no way he's going to build effectively. So as you take time to rebuild this year, do you know the exact extent of the damage in your life or in your business or in your finances? Do you know the extent of the damage? Because if you don't know the extent of the damage, you will not be able to know how to effectively rebuild. So it is good that you take time to evaluate your situation. I know that January for a lot of people is a time to fast and pray. And one of the things that you can do as you are taking time to fast and pray now is to begin to evaluate your situation. It's not enough for us to pray for better year or pray for better things to come when you don't even know exactly where you are. So it is good that you take time to know exactly where you are in your finances, in your career, in your spiritual life, in your relationships. Where are you? Because if you don't know where you are, how now are you going to effectively know how to build on where you are to go to where you want to go to get to? So for you to rebuild, there's a need for you to assess your situation so that you know exactly where you are, you know the extent of the damage, and then you know what you need to rebuild. And that was the second step that Nehemiah took. And the third step that Nehemiah took after he discovered the extent of the damage was to strategize. To strategize. There's a quote by Steve William Label that says, "Hope is not a strategy. Hope is not a strategy." Many times we enter into the new year and we are filled with hope. And that is why we wish ourselves a happy new year. We say all manner of prayers for ourselves, and then we hope that things will be better. But I want to let you know, just like Steve William here have said, that hope is not a strategy. So even though Nehemiah was hopeful that things will turn out well for him, that was why I believe he took the first step. But he had to develop a strategy on how he was going to rebuild. He had a strategy on how he was going to rebuild, where he was going to start from, who was going to be in charge of what, how they were going to go about it. So that strategy was in place, and that was what made him to effectively rebuild that wall. I want to let you know that as you are about to rebuild this year, the third step you need to take is to strategize. When you discover the extent of the damage in your life, or you discover the extent of things that have been broken down or destroyed, there is a need for you to have a strategy of how you want to get out of it. And that is why sometimes you need help, because many times you may not know how to come out of a situation that you are in. But in life, we always have people that have gone ahead of us. That is why we have mentors. That is why we have coaches. That is why we commit to personal development. So I want to encourage you, if you don't have a strategy, set out to get one. And if you don't know how to get one, seek someone that can help you to develop a strategy to get out of where you are. And as you develop that strategy, you will see yourself excelling this year, and you will now be able to come out of where you are. And just to give us an example, if you read the book of Nehemiah, chapter 3, you'll find there that one of the strategies that Nehemiah had was that he put different families in charge of different aspects of the work. For instance, the sheep gate needed to be built by Eliashib, who was the high priest, and his family. The fish gate needed to be built by Hosanna and his family. So he shared the work among the people. After recognizing the extent of the damage, which gates needed to be rebuilt, which part needed to be rebuilt, he assigned different people to the job so that it could be done effectively. And that is why I just want to encourage you, strategize, strategize. Hope is not a strategy. So once again, thank you so much for joining me. And just before I go again, if you've not liked this page or subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure that you do so. And if this video have blessed you, also make sure that you share it. God bless you.